So the OESF Research and Monitoring Program, the mission, so this program is part of the Olympic Experimental State Forest, which is a working forest on the Western Olympic Peninsula. All the pink color within the pink-colored land base within the boundaries of the 3 WIRAs on the Western Olympic Peninsula. It's about 270,000 acres of forested land, and it is a working forest. It has a sustainable harvest level established. In addition to the objectives for revenue production for the trust beneficiaries, as well as objective for conservation of habitat, for this forest, DNR has an explicit learning objectives. And so the mission of the OESF Research and Monitoring Program is to learn how to better integrate revenue production and ecological values such as habitat conservation and long-term productivity, and deliver this information to managers so that they can continuously improve land management practices. Our vision for this program is more ambitious. We're looking for a program where we have research collaboration with multiple institutions to conduct research and monitoring projects. Also to produce knowledge of value to land managers, not just DNR land managers, but land managers across the Pacific Northwest. So that's our aspiration. The program includes several activities. Obviously, majority of the activities are different applied research and monitoring projects implemented in the forest, either through DNR staff or through collaboration with other institutions or researchers who are independently funded coming and working in the forest. We also have an adaptive management process, so a formal process, administrative process, where we are interacting with DNR managers, identifying priority topics for research, which is of highest relevance management questions they have and whether we can address it through research, but also meeting with them to interpret the results from the research and see potential implications for management adjustments. We are maintaining a number of formal research partnerships, as well as number of informal communication and maintenance of relationship. Forest land planning has been an activity that formally ended in 2016. Our program was involved in the development of the forest land plan, the long-term land management plan for the forest. It was published in 2016. We have a significant portion of the activities related to information management, and it includes managing vast, large databases from data collected through research and monitoring projects, but also maintaining databases that track the research and monitoring projects and number of metadata related to that, and documents related to the ongoing projects. Our education component of the program is more ad hoc and not formally developed, but we have a number of students, undergraduate and graduate students, doing their research on the forest. You'll see some of them presenting today. We organize field tours and seminars. And then the communication and outreach program has 2 formal components. The annual conference is one of them. And another one is we published twice a year a newsletter that features a project conducted in the OESF, as well as a guest article from researchers who's working on the peninsula but outside of the OESF. We are about to publish our 5th issue. That's the front page of the issue to be published in a couple weeks. We distribute this newsletter electronically within the DNR and also within University of Washington. It's a joint effort between University of Washington and DNR, specifically Olympic Natural Resources Center and DNR. And we have also about 160 people subscribed for external distribution of the list. If you are interested in receiving the newsletter, let me know, or let Kathy Chauvin know, who registered you in the front. And also you can subscribe on our website. And I just want to let you know that with education, yes, we don't have a formal program. We're trying to formalize it, but there are a number of not only graduate students coming to and undergraduate students coming to seminars and lectures here. As you can see here, an example with the Evergreen State College, but also we have a number of K through 12 students coming. This is a National Geographic student expeditions coming to the forest to learn about environmental monitoring. Who are the people in the program? In addition to me, we have two program staff. Kyle Martins is fish biologist, and he's leading the fish monitoring program. He'll be presenting later today. And Warren Devine is the program data manager and analyst, and he will also present later today. This is just formally who is administratively in the program. Obviously, in order for this program to exist, we have a lot of people helping in various ways. Kathy Chauvin is the one to note, because Kathy is the editor for the newsletter. She's also major help in organizing all these events and producing all the beautiful materials for that. And naturally, Olympic region, DNR Olympic region staff is participating in most of in all of our projects, either through accommodating research or actually designing timber sales to accommodate, laying out timber sales to accommodate specific requirements for field research. From that to activities such as reviewing website documents, commenting on management implications or relevance of different projects. So Olympic region is a major part of the program, and I'm glad to see a number of people from Olympic region here, as well as Bill Wells and Drew, the managers. Thank you. So I will go very quickly through a few projects that we completed this year, that we're working on this year, and I'll mention some projects that are starting and will be new in the next year. Status and trends monitoring of riparian and aquatic habitat. This is a project that started in 2012, and we presented in the previous two conferences on various components of it, but it's an extensive monitoring project where we monitor 50 watersheds across the Olympic Experimental State Forest for changes in habitat condition as we managed under our HCP. And also we have a number of reference sites on the Olympic National Park and Olympic National Forest. For this year, we analyzed the first snapshot of habitat data in stream and riparian, adjacent riparian forest, and published a paper assessing the outcome of 18 years of restoration, passive restoration under the HCP. You'll see a poster on that presentation over there, on the manuscript over there on the wall. There has been in-depth analysis of the winter temperature, and we're working on a manuscript on that. The analysis of stream flows have been progressing, and Jeff Keck, our hydrologist, will present a poster on that, which he presented in Washington, D.C. in December at the American Geophysical Union Conference. Analysis of riparian microclimate. This is a component where we collected 3 years of data, and we have a student from Evergreen State College to present this analysis today. And a major development, we added 4 reference sites on the Olympic National Forest, which will greatly improve our ability to assess changes in watersheds which are subject just to natural disturbances, not managed watersheds. And that addition was done under the Good Neighbor Authority Agreement. We also, in the same watersheds, are conducting the fish monitoring. Kyle is leading this program. And this year, he has done a very interesting analysis on the linkages between forest and streams and fish. And he will present that analysis later today. And there is a pretty involved sampling going on through electrofishing, snorkeling, and RED surveys in these basins. We have 2 silvicultural projects that will be presented today. One is Mind the Gap, and it's a study that is trying to look at the examples of gaps in late successional forest and match them and use them to inform potential silvicultural prescriptions in managed forests. And then another project is on assessing the effects of alternative pre-commercial thinning options and following commercial thinning on forest growth and on development of stand complexity. A development in the past year has been, number of you have been involved in, informed and also participated in the EPIC planning of the landscape management experiment on the OESF. We have not still have not launched the full scale of the experiment, but we have worked on components and started components of it. One of these components is the ethnoforestry, or using traditional knowledge of local people to inform management practices, forest management practices. And this is spearheaded by a graduate student at University of Washington. She earned 2 grants this year for field studies to propagate some culturally significant plants. I think this is an example, yeah, this is an example of their propagation of bear grass, as well as wildcrafting as foraging forest products and using them for developing small businesses with the local community. And Courtney has a poster and we'll talk about this to you today. If you're interested, stop by the poster. We have another component developing under the landscape experiment. It is assessing the export of carbon in fresh water in streams. And the analysis will be presented today on the spatial and temporal variability of carbon, stream carbon. And number of 2 graduate students and a professor in social studies at University of Washington are working on social studies analysis on community well-being, and Brian will present today the framework from these investigations. And then we've worked, Bernard Borman, who's a co-PI on this project, the director of the ONRC, and I have been working with the Olympic region to assess the potential implementation of the field, the manipulations in the field as part of the experiment. So working with Bill Wells, the district manager here in Forks, to see available land and timing of the treatments. I'm moving to the new projects. One new project, very excited to see, will happen starting April 2020. A group of us, University of Washington, Bernard Borman and Lauren Keeney, a researcher, and 2 of us, Dan Donato and myself, are researchers on this project. We won a grant from the Earthwatch Institute, which is an international organization. The title of the project is very long, but what it actually is we're listening to birds to tell us how well we're managing forests. It is a passive acoustic monitoring project where we will install recording units like the one here from the Cornell University, and use indicator species of birds. Mostly we identified 11 mostly songbirds that are common here in the OESF, and use their vocalization to calculate occupancy rates of these species and use that to inform us about the quality and diversity and function of habitat. This will be accompanied with detailed habitat surveys at the location of the recordings. The project right now is funded for 3 years. As I said, it will start in April 2020. It's a very interesting model where it will be a citizen science project where we'll have groups of volunteers coming and doing the field research for us. We've never done it, or I've never done it before, so it will be an interesting experience to see. And then there's another new project that has been in planning for the past more than a year. This one is in cooperation with Oregon State University. Their Operation Research Lab, and specifically Professor Woodham Chang, is interested in testing tethered logging systems here on the coast. And his experiment, which here is in his proposal showing 2 corridors for comparison of tethered logging, logging technique to manual felling with cable yarding. And so using a minimum of 2 corridors of each logging systems, 1 corridor of each logging system to quantify the difference in the soil disturbance between the systems, between in soil water holding capacity, the productivity and cost. And they're particularly interested to see the potential increase in productivity in the yarding productivity because of the pre-bunching of the trees with a mechanized felling. And also, I think a component of this analysis, which is of great interest, of this research, which is of great interest to many people outside DNR as well, is assessing worker safety with a potential for this to affect the LNI fees. Olympic region has been very helpful in accommodating this research in a timber sale, which we hope to sell in July. And if that's so, we will start the experiment in the fall.